open the meeting with public comment. Is there any public comment? Tim, you asked about this community development block grant program. The amount of this grant was for $30,000.
$30K, okay. Even?
Yes.
Oh, I usually did get ballpark. Thank you. Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Just a real quick follow-up. So all the paperwork and that has been now put together to move forward on that project?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. We have a minutes from November 19th, 2018.
Move to approve as submitted, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second? Motion been made and seconded to approve minutes from November 19th, 2018. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Mail here from the Helen and Lewis Clark National Forest Stonewall Vegetation Project update. Here from the DEQ, public notice for a City of Great Falls wastewater treatment plant. Bureau of Land Management. Comp sale, Bureau of Land Management received expression of interest to sell federal oil and gas leases on 271 parcels of federal minerals in future lease sales. Christmas card from Great West Engineering. That's all the communications we have. Oh, I have one more here. This is a letter from Trevor and Brenda Reichert. The local government, Broadwater County portion of these taxes are being paid under protest in relation to the ongoing situation at the property of William M. Hall, 26 Oxbow Bend Road, Townsend. This property has been occupied by 3 adults since Memorial Day of 2018, and as to date has had no sanitary system installed. Although a portable toilet has appeared, there is still a concern with gray water runoff. Our well, which is shallow, lies directly downslope of this encampment. If this water is not handled or treated properly, it could become a contamination in our well during spring runoff. To my knowledge, there have been multiple complaints about this situation made to the county sanitarian, yet the situation continues to go on. In addition, we have been subject to nuisance dogs barking on the property since occupancy was established. This has also been reported to the Broadwater Sheriff's Department. Trevor and Brenda Wright. We have payroll claims in the amount of $181,196.93.
Second motion.
Motion's been made and paid. Made and seconded to pay claims and set amount. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same. Motion carries.
I think we should make sure this letter from the Reicherts gets to both the Board of Health and to the county sanitarian.
And we need to send it to Win also.
Wynn and Corey. Yeah.
They received it.
Oh, good.
We got one.
Receipt to Broadwater County for restitution from Bill Flanner in the amount of $632.52. Have a notification of completion of groundwater development for the Broadwater County Fair Board. Requires a signature.
I will move that we sign on behalf of the county for the city county fairgrounds for the water issue.
Now, sure.
Motion made, second to cite, notice of completion of groundwater development. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. we can, let's see, have claims here from Commissioner Slivka for mileage for the date for 4/6/18, 6/28/18, and 10/3/18. See, the 6/28/18 requires a second signature. The other two claims are signed by Franklin and myself.
And I will not oppose the claims, but I will not move or vote to approve. So I'll leave that to Commissioner Salifka. But as this is being brought into a public meeting, it should make it okay for him to go ahead and sign, as long as we have the vote. We need a motion and a vote though before said signature.
I'll make a motion to approve said claims. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made and second to approve claims. Commissioner Slifka, all in favor? Aye.
Okay.
Opposed, same. Motion carries.
Yeah, I am going to actually abstain from that vote.
Yes.
Just a real quick question, for clarification, under our compensation package for county commissioners, is there a separate, resolution or something that covers expenses incurred by the three commissioners in doing, conducting business for the county? Or is that just kind of part of everything that's been there forever?
There's a state statute on it.
Pardon me?
There's a state statute.
So it's covered by state statute?
Yes.
You don't happen to have, is that under Title VII?
What's that?
Under Title VII, or,
I don't know what.
It's an MCA code that you have to pay, you have to pay the mileage for commissioners.
and that's for conducting business and,
Yep.
okay, thank you.
And this included, like Great Falls with the Macros conference there, conference in Missoula. So that goes back to, well, since the first of the year, actually, so. I was about ready to go ahead and put penalty and interest on it, is what it's amounting to. Because it's just been held up for a year.
Not wanting to get into that, I just was curious where the foundation is for the reimbursement. Thank you.
So I guess we go to Commissioners' Community Update. Let's see, I went to the Rocky Mountain Development Council Board meeting, Solid Waste meetings, Townsend Health Systems, and the LEPC meeting.
I had a slew of Board of Crime Control meetings, Youth Justice Council, Post, we had a hearing with Board of Crime Control at Post, and then Board of Health and Weed Board, and it seems every night the last couple of weeks was a meeting, LEPC. So, yeah, they're kind of piling up before the end of the year.
Canvas roads, solid waste. Had a road complaint, I went out and checked some on the roads. Many, many phone calls.
10:15, I guess we can go ahead with your report, Allison, if you're ready.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Everyone seems so excited to be here. I have a whole bunch of stuff. So kind of start with why I've been absent so much, and that's been it's kind of the time of year for a lot of professional development for me. And so I've gone to several different trainings this past month, but probably the one that was the highlight for me was last week, and I spent 3 days with some colleagues doing a facilitator excellence training. And so just to help me better fine-tune my skills as a facilitator, to help groups be able to move through processes a little more efficiently, as well as help facilitate like learning experiences, which is kind of what we do. So that was definitely, it was a really, really good workshop. I'm just throwing it out there, is just to kind of keep in mind that I know you work with a lot of groups, and you just listed off a whole bunch of them. and as well as the county, that if you ever need a facilitator or someone to do trainings for you, keep Extension in mind. I know there's often the tendency to contract those services out, but oftentimes they may be right here in your backyard. So even if maybe it's not me specifically, there may be other resources in Extension. So just keep us in mind as you're working with groups and boards and helping people move through decision-making processes and learning experiences.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Programs, kind of programming mode. I'll start with 4-H. We just kind of wrapped up re-enrollment. We have another record year. This morning I looked at the numbers because I hadn't for a week or two, and we're at 137 enrolled youth members, which is another record. We keep setting them. And last year we ended the year at 125, and so this year we're already up to 137. We may get a few stragglers yet. We'll see. And so we've kind of started into our winter programming mode there, working on recruiting volunteers. We had in the last month we did have our annual awards night, which was from the last 4-H year. We kind of lagged behind a little bit on that, just by the time it takes us to order awards and get it all in. But anyway, so we had that. The other thing that our 4-H council has decided to do is do some strategic planning. We keep having these record years of growth, and we're trying to keep pace, but we're having a little bit of growing pains to try to figure out where we need to be and where we should be focusing our energy in the 4-H program. And so the council did decide to do some strategic planning, and so in April is kind of when we're going to hold some sort of event. I don't know what it'll look like yet. We've just kind of recently decided we're going to do this, but hold some sort of event to start gathering some feedback on where we should be focusing our efforts and how we should be doing that. And then hopefully we kind of go about that process this spring, because I see that it may take a couple different meetings or processes to kind of really see that picture, but then be ready to roll out next fall with really being able to hopefully narrow in and focus on some priorities in our 4-H program. Things are going great. I don't want that to make it seem like things are going bad, but we've had a lot of growth, and so we just want to kind of step back and evaluate how we want to continue to move forward and what we want to do with all these kids, because it's so wonderful. So I'm pretty excited about that. We have lots of egg programs going on as well. I talked a little bit about them last month, but tomorrow we have a noxious weed management program, and we've had a huge turnout for that. Katria, when I just left her office to come here, she was still working on the final RSVPs, but we're looking at probably like 60 people for that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was going to be happy with half that. So we're pretty excited about that. So that's tomorrow out at the 4-H building. You're welcome to stop by or come join us for lunch. I didn't bring an agenda, but you can stop by my office if you'd like an agenda of that. Then I also I did bring a schedule of our Rancher Roundtable programs. I've been doing these since I started here. We have 2 sessions this winter. A couple extra copies if anyone wants them. Just 2 this winter because I have so many other programs going on. One in December and one in January. These are kind of focused more at the cattle, livestock end of things, with a meal and a guest speaker and opportunity for discussion. They've been pretty popular. In January, I have some estate planning workshops. This is at the end of the month on January 29th with Marcia Getting. She's fairly well known in the state for her expertise in financial management, estate planning, all sorts of really great things. So she's doing 2 workshops. The first one is called Families and Legacies, Challenging Decisions. And this is kind of a more broad workshop that really is applicable to anyone. It'll talk about property ownership, transferring of property, planning for end of life, those sorts of things. Again, very broad, general, open to anyone. And then that evening, we have dinner and then a workshop that's focused on succession planning for farmers and ranchers. And obviously that's a little more focused on farmers and ranchers. Could also be applicable to other business owners, people who may have an actual business or major property that they're trying to transfer to the next generation. We do have a sponsor, so these are free, and I'm hoping that we get a great turnout. I've kind of the last couple of years been getting more requests for stuff like this, and so I'm excited to be able to finally put something together.
This looks excellent, all of these, nicely done.
Thank you. And I love having Katria in my office now, helping me out because she makes things look so pretty. This is her talent right here, making things all look so pretty. So,
Pretty neat.
she does a great job. Let's see, and then the other egg program that's in the works, but I don't have a lot of information yet, is our annual crop school, which is tentatively scheduled for February 20th, and that's, we do that one at Three Forks, if you remember. It's a multi-county program. We usually get 80 to 100 people at that. So we've started the process there, but I don't have too many details yet. Other things in the works, I have put together a working group that consists of Weed District, NRCS, Conservation District, and obviously Extension, to look at weed management on small acreages. And so we are in the process of writing a grant through the Noxious Weed Trust Fund to develop an educational program that would assist small acreage landowners in managing the noxious weeds on their property. So it would involve lots of different phases, including working one-on-one with them, classes, helping them develop a plan. We're focusing specifically on subdivisions and small acreage landowners, but it is a little flexible in that too, on what people define or consider themselves to fall in that definition. So I'm really excited about that. We're hoping to submit that grant before Christmas. It's due in early January, but hopefully getting that done in the next couple weeks. The other weed effort I've been involved with on this at the state level is I'm chairing a committee that is redoing the state 4-H noxious weed curriculum, and that's for the Weed Science Project and 4-H program. And so we have our deadline is sneaking up on us next week to hopefully put the first draft together for the level 1 of the project, and then early next year we'll hopefully have the draft of level 2. So I've been helping that group get that together. We're hoping that this curricula would be available for the next 4-H year in the fall of 2019. And then lastly, the other thing that's taking a lot of my time, in addition to professional development season, it's also reporting season. And so we just submitted our annual report, and now we have our MSU reporting that's due here early January. So I need to be working on that this month, because I'm a little behind there. We'll get it done. And let's see, the other thing I'll just share with you, I'm going to be taking some vacation time around Christmas and New Year's. I take some leave during that time, but Katria will be around if you need anything. And let's see, is there any questions, comments, concerns?
No, I think you've done just a fabulous job with that department, so thank you for all of this, everything that you're doing.
The other thing I guess I will mention I forgot to talk about on the 4-H program is we've been scrambling a little bit to find space for meetings. We're using this room a little bit, but it's not really conducive for a lot of the things that we're doing. Starting in January, we're going to start using the Mason building a little bit. There is a cost associated to that. At some point, you may see me come forward with maybe a proposal, a plan of how we can cover those costs, since I don't have it budgeted in my budget right now to cover that, because we're looking at, I think Tina's still kind of figuring the math, but she's proposed $20 a night, and so some of these months where we're having 6 to 8 4-H meetings a month, that does add up pretty rapidly. That's not year round certainly, but this is the meeting time of year. They do a lot of their workshops. So anyway, just to kind of give you a heads up, I don't have any details right now, but we're hoping in the next couple weeks to be able to bring that together a little bit more. So just to warn you.
Thanks for that.
Mm-hmm.
Do those 6 to 8 meetings a month, will that go down in the summer when it warms up?
Yeah, usually summer we don't hold as many meetings. They focus more on just getting their projects ready for fair. And we do have some meetings, but they tend to be more outdoor related. So we're not needing as much indoor space. We still do have our usual council meetings and committee meetings that go on, but less frequent workshops in the summer. Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
nothing,
Alan.
I'll sneak out of here.
Thanks, Allison.
Okay, 10:30 ambulance service. Request for funding for power lift for ambulances.
What is them up? Go back again.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Go ahead, Cyrus.
Alright. So we were here a couple weeks ago, pretty heated about asking for money for a new power load system. Just here, to get, hopefully get a decision on that. The price on here is good until December 24th. It's actually the 2018 price, which actually ended back on October 1st, but since they have an inventory, they were able to maintain the 2018 price until December 24th. After that, it will go up to about $1,000 on it. There's also a $1,500 installation fee. It's a separate private entity that will come and install it, so they'll come right here to Townsend to install it for us. It's, you know, power load system is a safety thing. It helps, takes away the lifting in and out of the ambulance. Properly secures it, meets the current ambulance safety standards for securing the cot in there. And the other safety feature that it has, the current, when we unload the cot on the old ambulance, the only thing that catches it is a small little hook. If that bar misses that hook, the cot can come all the way out and just drop. This prevents that from happening.
And I did a little research too, and Applied Ergonomics has done some studies, and that this significantly reduces musculoskeletal injuries by up to 78% in EMTs and paramedics. And lifting and loading is a common element of every call that we go on. And as far as injuries, it's not a question of if it's gonna happen, it's just a matter of how many and when. It's just part of the job. Paramedics and EMS have the highest incident of work-related injuries.
Well, I'm not surprised, but
Yeah.
Patients are getting bigger and EMTs are getting older.
And we have twice tried to apply for a grant to fund this, and both times we haven't scored high enough on the grant, and we did an application for that, if you guys would like.
Yeah, 2016, 2018, September. Any questions?
This says it's for a 2008, so is this thing interchangeable when that?
When we buy the new one in 10 years, we can move it into the new one.
Okay.
You know, we bought that new ambulance and we have it installed and this is to get one for the second ambulance that are over 2008.
and I understand you guys are using the newest ambulance because of the loader system.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of people, it's kind of, you get in the set groove and then you go to the old one and it's like, oh, wait, how do I work this one out? And they don't like to lift it, the cot. The cot itself is 150 pounds by itself. And then when you add the 200-pound patient on there, that's a lot of weight on it.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
That's being generous too.
Well, I will move forward with the funding of the Stryker power load system for the 2008 ambulance, or the older ambulance, for the total of $25,918.47.
I'll
And
second.
I think the only source we have is built at this point.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the purchase of the Stryker power load system for a total of $25,918.47. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
No,
very much.
thanks, you guys.
Just saved our backs.
Well, one back injury saved
Yeah,
more than pays for this many times over as
And,
well.
and they've proven after a number of years that it pays for itself.
Same as you.
And an injury to take one of us out of the call list is significant, because we're struggling with enough people to cover calls, so we would have a significant impact.
appreciate your support.
Thanks for bringing it to us and giving us the opportunity. And for all you do. It's incredible how much you guys do for us, so thank you.
Yes, Tim?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a real quick question. I think the last meeting, and just making sure I understood correctly, there was also an option for maintenance contract.
Yes.
Is that going to be brought in later now, or is that
I think we're
been
going,
dropped?
I think we're going to drop that because it's pretty expensive, because that price was just for 1 year only.
Okay.
And that's a lot of money to pay out every year that may not be used,
Okay.
so.
And one last question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I understand correctly, this is coming out of HILT?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
We're running a little ahead. Does anybody have anything on the agenda?
We could move up the MDT contract and the DUI task force.
Okay, was the MDT coming, do you know?
Yeah, he called me this morning, said he was gonna be here for
Okay,
review.
so if we can go ahead and move the Bradward County to the DUI task force. Request for funding for the Super Bowl Sunday party for the high school. Request for funding of $1,000.
I will move to approve. This is prevention, which is where you get the biggest bang for your buck. And it's been so positive for the kids. And those people who put it on too, I think they get a lot out of it as well. They did try and get a grant, but my understanding is, one, the deadline was missed, but also I don't think the Community Foundation can grant to government entities, and this is the Broadwater County DUI Task Force. And my motion would be to take this from Hilt.
I'll second it, it's a good relationship. Where, you had it the last couple times?
What's that?
Where, still at the Legion, or?
No, it's at the high school gym. And this year, it seems we're gonna do things a little different. Last year we brought middle school kids in last year. And that kinda, some of the high school kids kinda had a little problem with hanging out with middle school kids. So we've made arrangements with the school this year that we'll have the middle school kids in one gym, high school kids in the other gym. Have food in the common area. I think we had, I can't remember what the numbers were, that Tracy told me last week that we had in attendance, but it's a good turnout. The other thing that we did is we've always asked for donations for two cans of non-perishable items that we can donate to the food pantry. And one of the things that Jefferson County, and I think Lewis and Clark County have done, is they realize that there's kids within the high school and the school system that need assistance with food as well. And so they've created like a food pantry within their school district or with their school system. So we're gonna try that this year. We're gonna ask the kids to pay it forward and help out the kids in their own classes that are in need. And do it in a confidential manner, so there's nobody's getting picked on because they're going to the food pantry. But we have kids here in town that are struggling, and if we can help out, that's what we wanna do. It seems like the money goes quicker than it comes in, and And it's all based upon, all this funding is based upon reinstatement fees from DUI, so there's a lot of problems in that component as well. So that's kind of short and skinny of it, but it's always been a good time. We got a pretty good turnout for the kids, and they seem to have fun, so. Any questions?
Thank you. Motion been made and seconded to approve funding for the DUI Task Force Super Bowl party. Is there any other public comment? Seeing none, all in favor of said motion?
Aye.
Yes?
Pilt.
Yes.
Thank you.
Opposed, same? Motion carries.
Thank you.
We need to send her an email, which was approved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're still ahead of schedule. Is there anything else we need to discuss?
I will bring up two things. One is WIC. I'd like to start the process to advise folks that there may be a change in that program and follow through as need be it in the next coming weeks. I guess I don't know that we need to make a motion yet, but just verbal approval that the full board's on board with moving forward to solidify that program.
Okay.
Probably with Helena would be a good idea.
We're going to receive a letter from Teresa that she's given to the WIC people?
She would like to, but she needs our blessing to do so.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll need to follow up as a commission with the state WIC program. And if you want a motion, Mike, I'm more than happy to make it, whatever you prefer.
I think we'll wait until we get the letter from Teresa and we can formally with it.
I think though, in the meantime, we at least need to have a verbal that we're all on the same page to move forward so that she can go ahead and get that done.
Okay.
Follow through with the clients and we can start the process of following through with the state.
I would be in favor of going through with the program that Teresa and Heather has suggested as far as changing the program from WIC to transfer it to Helena Basic as they're going to ask to.
Okay, I'm also in
Fine with
agreement.
me. Also, some time ago, I forgot to bring it up, Harold wanted, Harold Gibbs a laptop. He goes up to do this work on that translator station up there. So much of it he could do if he had this laptop. And he works with his Charlie on it, and he asked me to bring it up, and I'm sorry I forgot about it. He asked me quite a while ago.
That's for the TV district.
Right.
I think we approved that some months ago. You just need to follow up with Harold and let him know.
It was approved. Did I bring it up then? I didn't think I had brought it up.
No, you didn't. He sent an email to us, and so we were able to actually bring it into a meeting.
And also I will contact Teresa Flynn and discuss that contract with her because it hasn't been renewed since 15. She needs to come in and file a claim
Okay,
for 3 years. So I'll get a hold of her and try to get that contract taken care of.
and she could do that via mail or email too.
Okay.
And then the only other thing I would suggest is that we just, for now, just reverse the decision to pay the legal fees for Steve Cordova for his dismissed both criminal and misdemeanor charges, and just revisit that in February.
So are we not going to pay that until February?
I think that's a good idea, yeah. And then we'll just put it on the agenda at that time.
Okay. The other thing I was wondering is, do we need to, we had talked about not renewing the lease at Silos. We need to put that back on the agenda and then, because that,
No. We didn't do anything, so status quo remains, and we're gonna take the next year to become informed and educated as
And
to the whole
then-
process.
did the people from the Silos group, what's the new name on the bar?
Silos Junction or something.
Okay, so-
Silos Junction, yeah.
Debbie, do you know, or Laura, do you know, did the Silos group that was working together, did they notify them that the MSU landscape people are going to have a presentation this Thursday?
Yes, they've been doing I don't know if they contacted them directly, but I know that they've been making it, public and letting people know about
Okay,
it.
so and
Yeah.
that is at 6 to 7 at the school, at the
On the
community
6th.
room?
Mhm.
And that's the MSU landscape department was doing a plan for the Silos campground group.
Right.
When is that, I'm sorry?
What's that?
What's the date on that?
This Thursday?
And that's at the school.
That's at the community room, I believe. Bernadette, are you here for the 380?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we will move on to the 1045 Nicole Brown, Community Development Director, 380 Views Minor Subdivision Request Preliminary Plat Approval.
Good morning.
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 Shut my phones off first. So here is the preliminary plat application. Just read them here.
Thank
Move through. This is the preliminary plat. Do I read you one of these?
Thank you. Welcome.
It really is, yes, yeah, you know. Nice fat now, this is perfect. I have extras. Can we- No? Oh, no. Did you want one, Brandon? Okay. So this is off of Springville Road, just north of Townsend. 5-lot minor subdivision, first minor from a tract of record. So if you're ready, I'll do my best to make this as painless as possible reading through this. This is the findings of fact and order report for the 380 Views minor subdivision. This is a proposed minor subdivision preliminary plat to be known as the 380 Views. A date of application, September 11th, 2018. They received sufficiency October 11th, 2018, and the review period will end December 4th, 2018. Planning Board held a meeting on November 21st, 2018, and the applicants are John and Mary Heineman. The applicant's representative is Bernadette Swenson. This proposed subdivision is located approximately 3.5 miles northwest of the town of Townsend. The applicant proposes to develop 5 residential lots from an existing 22.13 acre parcel. These lots will be served by individual wastewater treatment systems and individual wells. Access to the proposed subdivision will be off of the existing roads, Springville Lane, and I'm sorry, that should say Springville Road, and Spring Street. The required preliminary review fee of $2,000 and the weed inspection fee of $220 have all been paid. The proposed subdivision is a first minor subdivision from a tract of record, therefore a public hearing is not required. The 5 lots created will range from 3.59 acres to 5.28 acres in size, to be split off from an existing 22.13 acre parcel. The property is located in a residential area adjacent to Springville, which is a platted town site. Review is performed pursuant to the Montana Subdivision and Platting Act, Section 76.3.101 through 76.3.614 Montana Codes Annotated, and the Broadwater County Subdivision Regulations. The proposed preliminary plat, 380 Views minor subdivision as submitted by the applicant, together with the required supplementary plans and information, appear to satisfy the requirements of these regulations and comply with the Broadwater County Growth Policy Plan dated July 2003. A preliminary plat, vicinity map, and topographic map of the proposed subdivision have been provided. No rock outcroppings or the presence of bedrock have been identified on the property. The proposed subdivision is not in an area subject to flood hazard according to FEMA's floodplain map. However, Warm Springs Creek runs along the north-northwest boundary of lots B1, B4, and B5. In order to mitigate any potential negative impacts, a 50-foot setback from the creek is proposed. These tracts will be served by individual wells and wastewater treatment systems. Since all parcels are less than 20 acres, review and approval will be performed by the Department of Environmental Quality. The lot owners will be responsible for disposal of their own solid waste. The subdivision residents will have the option of hiring an independent contractor to pick up their solid waste or transport it themselves to the Indian Creek Transfer Station, which is approximately 3.5 miles southwest of this proposed subdivision, or to the North Cedar Canister Site, which is approximately 4 miles southeast of the proposed subdivision. The property is currently open range, growing native grasses and shrubs. Adjacent land use to the north is agricultural, to the south is residential, to the east is proposed future residential, currently agricultural, and to the west is residential, the platted town site of Springville. This 5-lot subdivision will have a minimal effect on agricultural productivity since no lots are being removed from active agricultural production. According to the applicant, the proposed subdivision is not located on prime farmland as defined by the Natural Resource Conservation Service. This subdivision is considered to be compatible with surrounding uses since the surrounding area is mostly residential. No conflicts between the proposed subdivision and adjacent farm operations have been identified. This proposed subdivision should not interfere with the movement of farm machinery, operation of any irrigation systems, or diminish the availability or quality of water in the surrounding area. An environmental assessment was not required for this subdivision. No hazards such as falls, slides, or slumps are indicated on the plat. There is no known seismic activity, and no geological conditions which might affect the development, such as unsuitable soils, were identified within the proposed subdivision. There are no areas of marsh, grassland, shrub, or forest located on the property. Currently, there have been no noxious weeds identified on the property by the landowner. A noxious weed management plan application form is included in the preliminary plat application as item number 27, but to date it has not yet been approved. If in the future any noxious weeds are identified, they will be sprayed with the appropriate herbicide. This subdivision should have no impact on wildlife areas such as big game wintering range, migration routes, nesting areas, wetland, or important habitat for rare or endangered species. Because of the size of the parcels and the fact that only 5 home sites are being constructed on the property, any effects on wildlife should be minimal. A letter to the Montana Historical Society is included in the preliminary plat application as item number 33. A response was received from Damon Murdo, Cultural Records Manager of MHS. Mr. Murdo states there has been one previously recorded site within the designated search locale, the historic Northern Pacific Railroad. It is Mr. Murdo's recommendation that a cultural resource inventory be conducted in order to determine whether or not any additional historic sites exist. No new roads are proposed for this subdivision. This subdivision will have access from the existing Springville Road and Spring Street, which have been determined as county roads by the Broadwater County Commissioners on November 19, 2018. A 60-foot easement from Springville Road is shown on the preliminary plat as a 60-foot wide public access and utility easement to lots B1 and B2. However, the developers are proposing to utilize this access easement as a driveway only and not construct it to county subdivision road standards. Lot B4 will have access via a shared driveway with Lot B3 or via the 30-foot wide access and utility easement located between lots B1 and B2. Lot B3 will have access via a proposed 30-foot wide driveway easement from Spring Street. Lot B5 will have direct access off of Big Sky Drive. According to Mako Land Use Attorney Tara Depew, the developer must pay the proportionate share the subdivision will have on all roads leading to the subdivision. If an access road is an undeveloped county road and no one else is using the road, the developer will have to pay for 100% of the required improvements to the county road. The county can allow the developer to build the county road to county road specs, or the developer can pay the county the cost of building the road, including man-hours. The road must be constructed prior to final plat or the subdivision does not have legal access. Also, the county must approve the construction of the road prior to final plat. It is estimated that the 380 Views minor subdivision will generate an additional 40 vehicle trips per day per the Broadwater County Growth Policy Plan. Northwestern Energy will provide electrical service to the proposed subdivision. Phone service will be provided by CenturyLink. It is assumed that all utilities will be installed underground. The Yellowstone pipeline runs along the north-northeast boundary of the proposed subdivision. A blanket easement for the pipeline is recorded in Book 44, page 356, with an undetermined width. The developers of 380 Views Minor are proposing to identify the pipeline easement with a width of 100 feet. The Broadwater County Rural Fire District will serve the proposed subdivision. A letter written to the Broadwater County Rural Fire District is included in the preliminary plat application as item number 26. The developer is proposing to pay the per lot cash and lieu fee of $1,000 to the BCRFD at time of lot sale. To date, a signed and approved fire plan has not been received. The nearest fire station is the City of Townsend Fire Station, which is located approximately 3.5 miles southeast of this proposed subdivision. The Broadwater County Sheriff, located in Townsend, will provide law enforcement, and the Broadwater Ambulance Service, also located in Townsend, will provide both ambulatory and emergency services. The Sheriff's Department and Broadwater Ambulance Service are both located approximately 3.5 miles southeast of the proposed subdivision. Letters written to both agencies are included as item number 23 of the preliminary plat application. An email response from Sheriff Meehan was received in which he expressed his concerns for the access easements through adjacent property owners, as the last couple of years have caused his office numerous problems in responding to and dealing with access issues. He stated he would be more comfortable if these were actually designated roadways and not defined as an easement, because as land gets sold or changes, then the disputes start. The proposed development will generate approximately 8 school-aged children whom will attend school in Townsend. There is an existing school bus route that serves this area, and the addition of 8 bus riders may have an impact on the bus route, but will likely not have an impact on the school. Lands in most directions are residential. This subdivision should be compatible with surrounding land uses, since there will be only 5 home sites constructed. An active creek, Warm Springs Creek, runs along the north-northwestern boundary of 3 lots in this proposed subdivision. The developers are proposing a 50-foot setback from the southeasterly boundary of the creek in order to mitigate degradation of the creek, as well as any potential human hazards. Since this proposed subdivision is a first minor subdivision from a tract of record, no parks or recreation facilities are required. It's hereby ordered that the preliminary plat for the 380 Views minor subdivision is approved, subject to the conditions listed below. Final plat approval shall be contingent upon completion and compliance with these conditions. Number 1, plans for sewage treatment and water supply shall be submitted to the Montana Department of Environmental Quality for review and approval. Their certificate of approval shall be filed with the final plat. Number 2, prior to any development and/or soil disturbance, a weed management plan for the proposed development shall be submitted to the County Weed District for review and approval. All specifications and requirements of an approved plan shall be met. Number 3, the applicant will be required to submit the final plat drawings in electronic format to Broadwater County in ArcGIS, AutoCAD, or MicroStation format. Additional materials may be requested by the county in electronic format to facilitate review of application materials. Number 4, the applicant and the Fire Protection Authority having jurisdiction shall use their best efforts to draft a fire protection plan specifically for this subdivision in accordance with the Broadwater County subdivision regulations. The plan should be equally acceptable to the FPHJ, the applicant, and the county governing authority. The plan shall adequately address the fire risk analysis, all findings of fact, and appropriate mitigation measures. In the event the parties are unable to come to an agreement by the time of final plat submittal, The applicant shall become eligible to provide the per lot cash in lieu fee for water supply as may be defined in the Broadwater County subdivision regulations in effect at the time of submittal. 5, the final plat should be prepared in accordance with applicable state survey requirements, Montana Subdivision and Plating Act survey requirements, and county subdivision regulations. 6, the applicant shall provide a driveway easement from Springville Road to Lot B1 with a turning radius of not less than 45 feet in diameter. 7, the currently unconstructed portion of Big Sky Drive must be designed in accordance with the Broadwater County subdivision road standards, stamped by a professional engineer, and submitted to the County Public Works Department for review and approval. A letter from the PE shall be provided to the county stating that the road and any improvements have been constructed in accordance with the approved plans and specifications, and that he or she has completed an inspection of the road and any improvements. 8, the currently unconstructed portion of Spring Street must be designed in accordance with the Broadwater County subdivision road standards, stamped by a professional engineer, and submitted to the County Public Works Department for review and approval. A letter from the PE shall be provided to the county stating that the road and any improvements have been constructed in accordance with the approved plans and specifications, and that he or she has completed an inspection of the road and any improvements. If the developer does not use Spring Street to access lots within the proposed development, each lot must have other legal access per the Broadwater County subdivision regulations. 9, the applicant shall contribute the cost to upgrade the existing road, Springville Lane, that should be road again, my apologies. The applicant shall contribute the cost to upgrade the existing road, Springville Road, to Broadwater County subdivision road standards from the cattle guard to the driveway entrance of the westernmost lot. 10, the book and page reference to the restrictive covenant filed with the county clerk and recorder shall be indicated on the face of the final plat. In addition, restrictive covenants, revocable or alterable only with the consent of the Board of County Commissioners, shall be placed upon the property and shall provide for the following. A, notification of the potential health risk from radon concentrations, and that such risk can be evaluated through soil tests and mitigated through radon abatement techniques incorporated into structures. B, a notification that all dwelling units within the subdivision should be constructed to specifications which meet or exceed equivalent provisions in the applicable state building code for this seismic zone, which is Zone 3. C, any additional replacement or relocated utility lines shall be installed underground in accordance with county subdivision regulations unless otherwise determined by the utility provided. D, any exterior lighting shall be directed downward to minimize visibility beyond the property line. E, a waiver of the right to protest to join a special district for the purpose of providing community water and or wastewater treatment system improvements and or maintenance. F, a restrictive covenant binding the landowner, any heirs, successors, and assigns, and all future owners of property within the subdivision, agreeing therein to hold Broadwater County harmless and indemnify Broadwater County from all claims, demands, obligations, suits, causes of action, damages, and liability, including the county's costs and attorney's fees, arising in any manner whatsoever out of or relating to the existence, use, operation, repair, and or maintenance of the following. Subitem 1, earthquake fault zone and any seismic activity, and subitem 2, water availability. G, all cats and dogs must be restrained, penned, or otherwise under the control of their owner at all times. H, notification of the presence of agricultural operations in the vicinity. I, each lot shall be maintained in a clean, attractive, and weed-free manner. Noxious weeds must be pulled, sprayed, or cut prior to seed maturity. J, a waiver of the right to protest joining a rural improvement or maintenance district for the purpose of road maintenance, mosquito control, or equitably funding parks and maintenance of parks. K, address numbers shall be clearly marked at the driveway entrance to each lot and be easily identified from the road. L, a notification that lots in this subdivision may be subject to impact fees if in place prior to lot sales. 11, prior to filing the final plat, the applicant shall A, provide proof that all taxes and special assessments assessed and levied on the property are paid for the current tax year, including any past delinquencies, and B, provide documentation, an abstract of title or platting certificate showing that the applicant is the lawful owner of the property with the apparent authority to subdivide the same, showing the names of lien holders or claimants of record and the written consent to the subdivision by the owners of the land, if other than the applicant, and any lien holders or claimants of record against the land. The applicant is financially responsible for actual outside engineering, consulting, professional and or contracted service fees, etc. at the sole discretion of the county for additional review and or final plat approval of the proposed subdivision. Preliminary plat approval of the 380 views minor subdivision shall be enforced for 3 calendar years. At the end of this period, the governing body may, at the written request of the subdivider, extend its approval for no more than 1 calendar year. However, the governing body may extend its approval for a period of more than 1 calendar year if that approval period is included as a specific condition of a written subdivision improvements agreement. A party as defined by 763625 MCA who is aggrieved by a decision of the governing body may, within 30 days after this decision, appeal to the Broadwater County District Court. can I make one point of clarification? On my findings of fact and order report, at the date that it was written, a signed and approved fire plan was not received, but I do currently have a signed and approved fire plan, where they accepted the $1,000 per lot at time of sale. So,
All right.
So on this map, is this Yellowstone pipeline easement, is this road run adjacent to the Yellowstone pipeline easement?
adjacent to, yes.
And are these lots in the next subdivision gonna come off of that road and cross the pipeline?
There's a possibility.
Is that allowed?
It is, actually. There are a few driveways, I guess it has been allowed in the past, is how I should probably answer that. There are a few driveways on River Road that they've actually had to cross the pipeline. You know, the pipeline is running adjacent to River Road, and so they've had to cross the pipeline in order to access their property. And so every time, I encourage those homeowners, or, require them, if you will, to work with the Yellowstone Pipeline Company as far as placement of any culverts and anything like that. Just for safety of their life and property, as well as the integrity of the pipeline.
And then these two lots, B5 and B3, are their access, is that Springville Road, Springville Lane?
Spring Street. I think it shows better on this large version there. Spring Street, there might be one in your book. So Spring Street, I'll show you on this here. Runs in this direction here,
Yes.
and then Big Sky Drive comes off of this.
Okay.
And this is simply a driveway easement
And those are coming off.
off of Spring Street.
Oh, okay.
And Spring Street, it's a tongue twister. Ends, the construction of it ends about here. There's nothing constructed from here on.
So are block 20 and is block 20 a portion of B5?
No, block 20 is block 20 of the Springville platted town site.
So is a piece of block 19 being taken off as an access to B3?
No. Well, it's not being taken off. It's a driveway easement.
That's